Welcome back to my channel at The Movie Optimist, where I find the silver linings in even the worst of films. Tonight, I just got done watching an advanced screening of The Accountant 2, directed by Gavin O'Connor, starring Ben Affleck and Jon Bernthal. Now, right off the bat, I am going to say a minor spoiler, although it's not really because it was in the trailer, but if you're the type of person that doesn't like to watch trailers to movies because you feel they give away too much, then stop watching this review, go see the movie, and then come back if you care about my thoughts. Essentially, this movie picks up and we are following J.K. Simmons as he's trying to hunt down a missing family and their child, and there's a bunch of people that don't want him to find out where they are, so he winds up getting himself killed, which you see in the trailer. But before this, he's able to get a message out to his old pupil, someone that was training under him, to find the accountant, which is Ben Affleck, and ask for his help in uncovering this mystery that he fell short of uncovering because of his timely demise. When his pupil comes to the crime scene and finds the message, she figures out a way to reach out to Ben Affleck's character and have him come in and aid her in trying to figure out who these people are and why they wanted J.K. Simmons dead. However, once they find out that they are in way over their head, Ben Affleck decides to reach out to his brother, played by Jon Bernthal, who we saw very briefly in the last Accountant, and ask him to come out and aid them because, again, they're in way over their head and there's a lot of bad people that are going to be looking for them and they feel they need the extra muscle. It's very akin to the first one where, for the most part, the first half does play out with a lot of Ben Affleck trying to decipher clues and like the murder boards with all the strings going all over the place and just trying to connect the dots in only ways that he can do because of his autism. He can see patterns and puzzles in ways that most normal people can't, which is why he's so good at his job. If you haven't seen the first one, essentially Ben Affleck plays an accountant, but for criminals, essentially, where he kind of comes in and uncooks books for people, and if there are any dangerous people that are trying to go after him for doing this, then he is also trained in being an absolute badass and disposing of them very violently. Now, I'll say this right off the bat. You have The Empire Strikes Back. You have The Two Towers. You have The Dark Knight, The Godfather Part 2, Blade Runner 2049, Captain America Winter Soldier, Terminator 2. What all of these movies have in common that I just listed? All of the sequels were far superior than the first, and The Accountant 2 can now firmly join that conversation because this movie has taken everything that made the first one so awesome and elevated it to new heights. If this movie came out a year or so later after the first Accountant, I highly doubt it would have been as good as it is, but because they had so long, I believe it was like 7 years of writing to really fine-tune this script, they were able to make it so much better than the original because Gavin O'Connor had a chance to sit down and figure out all the things that made the first one work so well and just give us more of that here. On one hand, the action in the first one was great, but here it excels. It is exceptional action. There's a giant action set piece in the last 20 minutes of this film that you've seen in the trailer where they're kind of like out in the desert shooting a bunch of bad guys, and it's so intense and well choreographed. There is a ticking time clock in this film where they are racing against time to save people. So whereas in the first one, it's really, the ending climactic battle is Ben Affleck going in this house and disposing of a bunch of bad guys. There was no real urgency to the ending fight scene outside of us just wanting to see him dispose of a bunch of bad guys. But here, they're racing against a clock and it makes it so much more thrilling. And again, the action this time around is so much more hard-hitting and in your face and brutal and just so much more fun to watch. The other standout of the film, obviously, the main character, Ben Affleck. The first one, he was a little bit more of a recluse. He didn't open up to us, the audience, the way he did in this one, whereas in the beginning of this movie, we see him go to like a speed dating event where like different girls are coming to his tables and he's just trying to find love, and they really open up his character in a lot more ways this time around where you really get to know him more, you get to know his wants and desires, and you get to see what kind of life he has outside of uncooking books, being an accountant, and killing bad guys. He has a lot more character development this time around. And whereas in the first one had Anna Kendrick as a pseudo love interest for him, which made the scenes where she was in danger feel more perilous, and it definitely gave a little bit of urgency to the film where you were constantly worried for Anna Kendrick's well-being, they swapped that out with something this time around that, in my opinion, made the film so much better, and it was something that we only got briefly in the first Accountant, and that's the relationship and the dynamic between Ben Affleck and his brother Jon Bernthal. In the first one, you see Jon Bernthal a little bit in the very beginning just to kind of establish who he is, and then he shows up at the end to kind of save the day. Whereas in this one, they replaced the romantic involvement of Anna Kendrick's character with a buddy cop dynamic with Jon Bernthal and Ben Affleck in this one, where you're getting to spend almost the entirety of this film together with them. So when they're not off beating up bad guys or beating up guys in a bar, they're bantering bantering back and forth and just forming chemistry with each other for us, the audience. And it's a lot of fun watching them fight like brothers would. So when you're, again, not getting the action, you're laughing a lot because they did such a good job setting up their brotherly bond, and especially how at odds they are, because Ben Affleck's character isn't really that sentimental. He isn't that open with Jon Bernthal. He's kind of distant from him. He doesn't really know how to show the side of him that is a loving brother, and Jon Bernthal always thought that he just didn't like him because of it. And there's a lot of really intimate moments of brotherly love between the two of them that I wasn't expecting. It just elevated the scenes in this movie that weren't filled with explosions and action and bad guys getting shot in the face. So you have better action, better performances from all of the lead characters. You get a great brother dynamic between Ben Affleck and Jon Bernthal. On that concept alone, this movie was far superior because I didn't really find the mystery aspect of the first one all that compelling. But this time around, they added a mystery that was really engaging, and the way that Ben Affleck in this movie figures it out just continues to impress me, because I'm sitting here watching this movie and I'm watching Ben Affleck uncover all this stuff in a way that only he can with his brain, given the condition that he has. But in the back of my mind, I'm like, there's somebody out there that wrote this script, that thought of all this, that must have gotten forensic people together and like old cases and like the way they've pieced together clues, and they pieced together this mystery that it's just so impressive to see unfold in an action movie like this. I was not expecting that attention to detail and to have them go so deep in the mystery aspect of it and the puzzle solving, and it's a lot of fun watching. Everything about this movie is a lot of fun watching. Everything about this movie is really expertly made. I really don't have any gripes about this movie because it even ends with a nice bow and a very satisfying way that if we don't get a sequel to this one, I won't be super bummed because it just ended really nice. It ended where everyone had a great character arc. Ben Affleck's character kind of learns how to show his emotional side. Him and his brother bond. They have a great action set piece at the end where they get to kick ass and take names together. The only gripe I have with it, and it's just one, and that's because on my drive home I was like, am I really about to sit here and give this a perfect score? At the end of the day, I did have that one problem, and that was that they chose to hide some things from us as the audience, and I don't know why they did that. And what I mean by that is there's a scene where they go to a bar to kind of just let off some steam, get a couple drinks, dance with a couple girls, and Ben Affleck kind of entices a fight to happen, not because he wants to get in a fight, but because he wants his brother to have a good time, and he only really has a good time if he punches somebody in the face by the end of the night. So he like draws a fight out of a crowd of like drunk cowboys, and instead of showing the fight take place, it cuts right before Jon Bernthal attacks the dude, and it cuts to them like in the car driving off like, yeah, that was great. A night isn't truly over until you end it by punching somebody in the face. And I was just like, man, I would have really liked to see that fight play out. That was a really fun moment, and once they cut to them in the car, it kind of let all the steam out for me. And then they do it again with Jon Bernthal's character. When we meet him, he's already slaughtered a bunch of people on whatever mission he was on, and we just see the after events, but the after events look so brutal because there's just dead bodies everywhere. And although you do get a lot of fight scenes and shootouts with Jon Bernthal's character, I would have liked to see him as a one-man army without Ben Affleck getting his back. How he dispatched all these men with a pistol by himself in this penthouse apartment. I just feel like it would have been a really cool 30-second like montage of him just going through and killing a bunch of people, and they decided to hide that and kind of just gloss over it. That's not to say that it makes the movie bad. It doesn't. It just left me wanting more from the Jon Bernthal character. But outside of that, guys, this is an insanely good sequel, and it is so rare when sequels are this much better than the original. If you haven't seen the original, I implore you to go watch it. It is such a fantastic murder mystery action thriller, and this one just gives you that times two with a tighter, better script. I cannot recommend this enough. Do not go and walk to the movies. Run to see it when it comes out next week. I promise you, you will walk out having a good time. Anyway, I'm gonna give this movie a 9.5 out of 10. I really enjoyed this film. So far, it is my favorite film of the year, but that could be eclipsed this upcoming Thursday after seeing Sinners. Who knows? But as of right now, it is my favorite movie of the year. Anyway, guys, let me know what you guys think in the comments down below. Are you excited to see The Accountant 2? Have you seen the first one? And has my review swayed your opinion on whether you want to see it or not? Let's talk about it in the comments down below. And as always, guys, I hope you have a great rest of your week, and I'll catch you next time.